The problem with Texas weather in like the winter time is that it's cold, but like not cold enough, and we have like a lot of rain moving through. And I have really sensitive inner ears, which means it's migraine season.
That sounds horrifying.
Sounds awful. And it's like cold, but like I said, not cold enough. It's just like it feels colder because we're so used to it being like 90 degrees minimum. So,
I'm just glad that in Michigan we're having our first like real winter in like 3 years. I haven't skated on ponds in like 3 years, and I'm skating on ponds again. And my inner child and outer child are just overcome with joy. Like, this is an actual tangible winter, and I'm grateful for it. And I know people around the country are going to be upset at me because I'm like, yes, make it colder, but make it colder. I need more of this.
fully agree. Make it colder, except for winter times. I'm on the Texas Gulf Coast, so like southeast Texas, like right on the Gulf of Mexico. I'm not in Tornado Alley, but every winter there's been at least one tornado um like that touches down in my area, like the Houston area, and they've usually been in January, like around my birthday. So like we would in the past like couple years historically been looking at next week having like tornadoes. But we got them in December this year and it was like 5 of them touched down in the Houston area. So that's like the other problem. So now not only do we have hurricanes, we have like forgot about that historical flooding and the possibility of tornadoes. So
Well, I would say happy birthday to you with another tornado, but it sounds like it's getting better over there. It does explain your connectivity issues, though. I will say that.
with the weather, yeah, like we get windstorms and stuff all the time, and I always say that windstorms more than like lightning or like anything like that is like the biggest problem because basically none of our power stations are buried. They're all above ground. So if you knock out any part of that power station due to a windstorm, you're cooked.
And that is your Texas weather report for the month of January. Welcome to those who are tuning in for a little bit of AHL hockey talk, because I think that's what we're going to spend maybe the next 50 or so minutes talking about here. I'm Andrew,
I'm D,
and
recording
it's an
from Houston for the last time this month.
it's another week of taps. We got a ton of action, kind of overflowing with content a little bit. There's been a lot that's been going on. A lot of it's fun, a lot of it's not quite as fun if you're a referee, but we'll get into it. Um, do we want to start with the most fun topic? I think we want to come out guns blazing here with what I found was at least like let me get my tea set brewing over here, because there is some stuff that went down on the interwebs this weekend.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is the thing I live for. This is the only reason I still subscribe to the social media site formerly known as Twitter. Um, so you are familiar with the Hartford Wolfpack, correct?
Somewhat, yes.
Yes. Okay. And you are also, I assume, like familiar with the fact that they do play other teams in the league.
On occasion.
Okay. Could you name like another team that they played over the past week?
Maybe the Lehigh Valley Phantoms would be one of
Good.
those.
Yes, they did in fact play the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and the Hartford Wolfpack are two teams that are pretty like well known for banter on like their internet like presence is like known for banter between like the teams. But that banter crossed a little bit of a line over the past week, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms went off on the Hartford. Stop! I didn't even have a thumb. They went off on the Hartford like social admin because they posted like an end of period graphic with an older picture. And by older I mean like within the past few like couple of seasons, and definitely probably last season, because the like Phantoms photo team didn't give the Hartford Wolfpack like social media coordinators like game pictures from that game. They needed to make a little graphic for their thing, and they didn't have one, so they little skedaddled over to Lehigh's Flickr to pull a picture from one of the last times that they played. And Lehigh Valley was like, when did this picture, like, when was this even taken? Because so and so doesn't play for our team anymore, and we haven't worn that jersey. Like, literally, when was this taken? And Hartford came back with receipts. They were like, well, if your photo guys had given us the photos, we would have been able to use one from this game. By the way, you should recognize it. It's from your Flickr, whatever. And then they kind of went back and forth with each other. But Lehigh ended up deleting basically all of the posts because, like, they were in the wrong. Like, you're going to go off on the team, but, like, oopsie, maybe get all your facts before you're like, where'd you get this picture? And blah, 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 whatever. Try to call somebody out on social media. But Hartford kind of like ran with it a little bit and just kind of sent a little bit more, but in the usual like playful banter kind of style, where it's like with Lehigh Valleys, it was definitely very like, excuse me, are you dumb? But like with Hartford, it's like, hello, what are we gonna do? Anyway, that was like the highlight of my waking up the other day and checking the internet, because that's what I live for. I love like little petty things.
We live for the tea on this podcast. And yeah, I like the first tweet, it was like, we're like, where'd you get this picture? Like, I could understand it being that playfulness, that banter kind of style, and that's kind of what you want, and especially between the team accounts. But then it became like personal to a
Yeah, like
degree.
when you double down on it, it's like, hello, dude, listen, did it hurt anybody? No, it didn't hurt anybody to use an old picture. Like, I
Right.
understand, whatever. But, like, maybe do the thing that you're contractually obligated to do, and your in-house photographer get us the pictures that you were contractually obligated to give us. Well, like, my thing is if you're gonna throw some banter out at somebody, right? You better make certain that it's not your team's fault that this had to happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, they're looking so quick to try and dunk on someone, and when you don't understand the whole scope of it, then you just look like a bad admin, and now you're doing dirty deletes. But the internet does not forget. We keep receipts here,
We
and
are responsible taxpayers. We
and
keep
that's
our receipts.
exactly right. I am getting my entire refund on this,
Yes.
and yeah, it's my favorite of the night, though. Personally, I think was the graphic after the second period where Hartford's like, "Here's one from this game, so you guys
This
know that."
one from
Here, here.
tonight. Yes. I was so here for it because, like, yes, stand up for yourself. Like, go off, have your receipts, literally don't let them bully you, because that's all they were doing. Was like, it really came across as like the mean girl in like the high school, like American high school drama. Like, I'm bullying you, but what I'm saying is something that like I could play off as like an objective fact. So, like, yes, objectively that picture did not come from that game. But like subjectively, that's not a big deal. Y'all were tied. It's not like they were losing. It's not like they were like, it's not like Lehigh was winning. They were tied, it's not that big of a deal. You could be like, haha, I didn't know it was Throwback Thursday. That's so wild. But no, instead, you are like, we don't even wear that jersey anymore. Girl, that is not a good look.
They tried to make fetch happen, and you can't make fetch happen.
No.
So, yeah,
It's
props.
like from England.
Yeah, props to Hartford's admin for taking that bit in stride and really rolling with it. I feel like the Wolfpack gained a lot of new fans over the weekend, and that's what we like to see. You know, that's how you grow the game.
They gained a lot of respect from me because at the end of that, they still on their end still kept it professional.
Right.
Like, yeah, I feel, however I feel about the Wolfpack. Like, I don't feel like they deserved a Hallmark movie, but um they did, like, their admin for sure gained a lot of like respect from me because like I know how easy it is to just be like and like lean into the pettiness and kind of let it feed you. But at the end of the day, they did really keep it like so professional while also like kind of biting back, and I was so here for it.
Absolutely. So, props to the Wolfpack. I mean, there might not be a Hallmark movie, but at least it's not Bridgeport. Anytime I can dunk on the artists formerly known as the Sound Tigers, I'll do it. So we'll kind of dial back on the fun bit a bit here because we got a couple of suspensions. Giovanni Smith over in Colorado's been dinged for 2-gamer. That one doesn't really surprise me so much given his history in Grand Rapids and just in general, feisty player, plays on the edge, oftentimes kind of crosses over over the line, and you get dinged. And then a big one coming out of Hershey with Pierrick Dube getting 5 games. This is the longest suspension of the season so far here, and from the eyewitness reports, we got some allegedly incidental contact with the referees here and some continued banter, and the league is putting out a strong message that they're not going to abide any contact with the ref, and if you're going to continue to berate whether it's abusing them physically or verbally, you're going to be sitting. And for a lot of these lengthy suspensions this year, William Lageson's headlock for one, this 5-gamer's longest one of the season so far.
Yeah, and 100% like he earned a 5-game suspension. There is a minimum of 3 games for abusive officials, for shooting a puck at an official, making any kind of contact like with an official, verbal abuse of an official. There is a minimum in the AHL of 3 games, especially if it's called in the game. And especially if like it's maybe not as incidental as we think it is. Dube. But yeah, no, absolutely. And I understand like there is some confusion as to if there's a minimum of 3 games and this, other players have gotten suspended only for 3 games for this same thing. Why did he get 5? I happen to be of the belief that it's because there were so many compounding factors, because there was the verbal abuse of the officials and there was contact with an official. There was bodily contact made with an official, whether it was incidental, whether it was not incidental. All of that was taken into like consideration when it was reviewed. And I truly believe that because there were like multiple layers to it, that just kind of compounded. So he got the automatic minimum of 3. And then upon review, and they talked to the guy, they had to have talked to the guy to get his side of the story, they decided that an extra 2 just to like send a message, just to say like, hey, we're not tolerating this. At the end of the day, the only people on the ice who are allowed to like ask for answers from an official, who are allowed to plead a case, are the captain or the alternate captains. And in some instances, all 3 alternate captains. Depends on if you have a captain or not. The only other person who's allowed to do that is the head coach. So there are 4 people who can demand answers for any kind of thing. And I understand that Dube was heated because, he felt some calls went missed. I understand that. Like, I totally get tempers flare in a hockey game, and it's a very emotional sport, and you feel slighted and you feel wronged. However, officials let players get away with a lot. We're entirely lucky that we don't have more players suspended for abuse of officials because they don't have a letter on their chest and they're pleading their case with an official. Like, we're lucky that they only sit for unsportsmanlike, or we're lucky that they only sit for, like, the thing that they got called for, instead of having the compounding abuse of officials, bench minor or whatever on them. So yeah, no. I understand that it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, we don't really see this suspension very often. You don't really see an abuse of official suspension, but it is an automatic suspension. Whether or not he did it intentionally, whether or not, like, that's not the argument here. The argument is, like, yes, absolutely, because players spend a lot of energy and a lot of time trying to fight with officials when you could just sit for 2 minutes and just, like, sit with yourself and think about how you ruined it for everybody. All right, you know what I mean? There's a reason why why you have the penalties. Maybe don't do that again. Maybe think a little bit harder and don't do that again, kind of thing. Instead of sitting there and pleading your case and putting yourself into a position where you are so aggressively approaching an official that your bodies come into contact with each other.
Yeah, you can't do that. And I mean, I don't think the ref really is concerned about the intent in the matter, whether it was incidental or on purpose. You make physical contact with the ref in the manner in which, you're coming in to argue in a call. You're not just lazily skating by. You're not noticing you accidentally bump into the stripes. Okay, by any way you kind of look at it, it's they had to slap him with the 3 to start off with, right? And then, it's not just some kind of personal grudge against the guy to just add on an additional 2. There was, probably some continued jawing, some continued verbal spats where it's like, it's like when you get grounded and from your parents and you keep
So then you
talking
get
back, like,
week.
oh, okay, so you were grounded for the weekend, now you're grounded for the whole week.
Yeah.
So
Like, do you want to make
do
it 2?
you want 2 weeks?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want a month?
There you go.
Keep going. I got 3 years. Yeah. Like, the thing I think people don't realize, people don't understand, is that it is a minimum mandatory suspension of 3 games. Minimum. They could get however many games they feel like giving, but they got a minimum of 3. Usually, if you're a first-time offender, you get the minimum, unless, of course, there's gonna be these compounding factors.
Like continuing to yap.
Yeah.
The yaps will get you more games. And now here we are with the longest suspension of the season. So
it's a long suspension by any season's definition. 5 games is a long suspension for any season. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, dang, that's crazy. That is 5 whole games that this player is not going to be able to play. But also, they are setting a precedent. They are saying that the officials are off limits. They are off limits. It's not so much about the player. It's not so much about, like, was what the player did, like, the most egregious thing that has ever happened? Probably not. But they are setting the precedent right now, while it's still not early, but we're in the mid-season at this point, before the playoff push really starts happening, before everybody's tempers flare so much more. They're setting the precedent right now, in the best time to set it, that the officials are off limits. And do you know what? Go off. Because the Stripes have their own problems. The Zebras need to stay in their enclosures. But but they are doing their jobs. Whether or not they are good at their jobs is a different conversation, but they are just doing their jobs, and nobody likes to be accosted by somebody for just doing their jobs.
Yeah, and there's always times and places to argue your case, and really, you can be heated. You can even say something on your way to the box, whatever, as long as I'm sure you're not swearing profusely. There's these refs are adults and they'll take it. It's wild to me. It's like it could have been 2 minutes, and now it's going to be 300 minutes.
Right. Well, it could have been 2 minutes, but now you've been ejected for a game misconduct, and you have a 5-game suspension.
Yeah.
Like you just made that so much worse for yourself when it could have just been, it could have been nothing. Honestly, you could have been like, hey man, don't feel like that was right. Mind taking a look at that. Oh, but maybe not you because you don't have a letter on your chest. So maybe your captain could have said, hey man, don't think that's right. Mind taking a look at that. They can call it back. Yeah. But like, I feel like my perception on like engaging with anybody in a striped shirt during a hockey game is a little warped. Like goalie, right? Physically cannot leave the crease
right.
For any reason except to go to the bench or like during gameplay, right? So could be penalized for that. So maybe my perception of it is really warped, and I'm used to having to have somebody with a letter on their chest or somebody who's been like appointed, like a person that can speak to somebody in a striped shirt, go and have those conversations for me. But like maybe that should just be the mentality that's taught to everybody. Like, you don't I don't know, you don't pick all of your own fights when you have somebody who is designated to pick those fights for you.
Exactly.
Pick less fights. Put fewer fights back and assign them to one person. Synergy, baby.
The fight man. That's what he's there for. Do you want to turn the vibe to be a little more fun again?
Yes.
All right. We got this irrationally rattled me when I'm putting it on the screen. I'm putting it on the screen. I got to find it. There it is. Okay. When this week hit across my timeline, my initial thought was like, hey, Providence, like, we love kind of ragging on them and their postseason woes and all that. I got another bone to pick. Someone in Providence has to answer for this, because for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see kind of the line of demarcation. And I mean, the more I look at it, for those that are just listening and tuning us in, take a look at the Providence Bruins logos next time, and tell me what you see. Take like an extra 30 seconds. It shouldn't take you that long once you actually start to see it, because oh my god, the spoke isn't lined up. It's not even close.
No, and like you can see it too, just like in the negative space, like between the spoke. Like, I don't know if you noticed that too. Like
God.
The one underneath the straight bar of the P is so much smaller than the one underneath the horizontal bar of it. Like, do you see that? Like that negative space is tiny compared to the other one. And it's like, I'm kind of mad at myself for never having noticed that. But I think what happened was somebody at Providence was like, guys, this is crooked. And they were like, you know what? Just erase the line from the middle of the P, make it a white space, and nobody will ever know.
And we didn't for the longest time. I've been on this beat for years, and I've dogged on Providence for everything from their goaltending to just choking after choking in the postseason. But I never sat and looked at it, and now I can never unsee it. And it's
not even close either.
No, it's not. The whole, you can see the whole lineup. For those that can watch, follow along. Look at that. Those two red lines line right up, and it's halfway over. It's almost a full spoke over.
Yeah, it's so bad. And the thing is that the Boston Bruins don't have the same issue. So it's not like they just took like the same template and just like messed it up. Like, you know, when you put a picture into Word,
Yeah.
it's not like they did that to it. They drew those spokes around it and still got it wrong when literally all they had to do was use the straight line tool.
That's all they had to do. All
Like,
they had
that's
to
it.
do was take the actual Boston Bruins logo and just take out that little chunk of B out there and make it a P. That's all you needed to do. What is this? I can't like. Oh,
Well,
it's
like,
so
it's also like
gross.
they reverse engineered this logo. Like, because the Boston Bruins has like the inverted colors, right? So they reverse engineered this logo, but instead of just like inverting the Boston Bruins logo and like figuring out how to like switch everything around, no, they put the P in the middle of a circle and we're like, we will make it work. And I have so many questions. My first question was, did you pay money for this? My second question was, how much? My third question is, how long do you think it's going to take for them to fix it? And my fourth question is this just like on one or two digital versions of the logo, or is it on the actual like logo that they use on merchandise and stuff?
We need to do some investigative journalism. Okay, I'm on the AHL.com right now. I'm looking
I
at.
only ask the important questions, okay?
I'm looking at the Providence Bruins. It's off center. It's off center for sure. Oh, I need to go look up a jersey.
So this is like multiple people like looked at this and they were like, yeah.
They're like, yeah, that's great.
The brain sees what it wants to see. Let me see. I'm also looking for it, but I have to use my phone because I don't have the same fancy technology you do.
Okay, hold on. We are gonna switch over to the different screen because this is on the actual like AHL store.
Yeah,
It's off center.
It's off center, like
It's quite off center. When you zoom in, it's worse.
oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh.
There is this one, this CCM one. I'm about to send you the link to the thing real quick. That way you can put it up.
There. Okay. Oh. I just.
This one is not off center.
Really? Did you? You gotta send it to me on Discord, man. I don't. I'm starting to wonder, like, is this the cause? Like, have we found
Do we know the reason now? Have we?
Right? Like, have we found the source of the curse? Like the magic well that has poisoned the water in Providence is why they can't like ever do anything in the postseason.
Possibly. This one, if it's off center, it's not as off center.
Here it
looks really weird because they didn't delineate the P from the lines.
Right. I think this one is more,
but it's not all as off center.
Right.
Like it's more straight.
Yeah. It's also, like as I kind of visually see this one, it's lined up, but that top spoke seems smaller than the bottom one. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
maybe it's just the angle of it, or
yeah, this one's weird because this does look like the Bruins logo, the Boston Bruins logo.
Right. This one looks like they actually took that B out.
Right. However, like look how weird the P is. It looks like
it's unsettling.
Well, it looks like they took the bottom half of the B off.
That's exactly what they did on this one.
Like that little horizontal line on the bottom is way thinner than the top one. So it doesn't matter that it's not as off center, because it's not. It's not as off center.
No.
It's just that it blends in with the P, and the P's the wrong proportions. And
And so
Bruin,
you think
you
that's
guys
why they off-centered the other one, is because they wanted the P to look more prominent in the logo?
no idea, but they paid money for that.
They paid money for all of these.
Yes, they paid real money for that to be happening. And that's older too, because that is a Reebok jersey.
Yeah, I was about to say that one looks old school as heck.
Yeah. So the Providence Bruins continue to be my main source of dopamine.
Oh man, I like if the Providence Bruins played against me in high school, I probably would be in the NBA right now, because I've just been dunking and dunking and dunking on them, and I got a highlight reel tape at this point.
It's oh my goodness. There's no greater gift to mankind than the Providence Bruins.
At least like for the vibes, it's certainly not.
Yeah, not for like quality hockey, but like for entertainment, for the purest of entertainment. Right. Oh my goodness.
For this pod, I don't think anyone's given us as much ammunition for this pod as the Providence Bruins have.
No,
so.
and I don't think anybody ever will be able to.
Not unless you intentionally off-center your logo, then.
No, it's going to be really hard to match the contributions to this pod of the Providence Bruins. And you know what? I feel like at some point we have to go to a Bruins game just to honor that.
Yeah, I gotta go to Providence.
You gotta go to. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be a home game.
All right, that's fair.
I feel like we do need to observe them in person at some point, just to really just.
If they don't just play the Benny Hill theme song like on repeat during puck stoppages, then I don't know what. That's the only vibe I can think of, man.
How much does an AHL hockey team cost? And do you think we could put the money together to own the Providence Bruins?
I can.
Do you think we could GoFundMe?
I would.
Providence Bruins. What if we started Kickstarter? What is it? Kickstarter?
Okay, we started Kickstarter
to own the Providence Bruins.
Own the Providence Bruins. Just to fix the logo, like nothing else. No,
I will sell it immediately.
Let's do it. Let's get the GoFundMe.
All right, everybody. We will link that in the show notes.
Yeah. And then we got one more bit of news that is a little heartwarming, because after the terrible tragedies going through Southern California last week, and everyone's still trying to sift through the debris and try and collect their lives back up together. All 5 of the AHL clubs in California, that's Coachella Valley, Bakersfield, Ontario, San Diego, and San Jose, have all 5 of them have announced efforts to collect items for donations and raise funds to be donated to the victims of these terrible wildfires, and just trying to help them get back on their feet. And so, all throughout the rest of this month, merchandise, proceeds from in-game auctions, like in Bakersfield, Coachella Valley's One Valley Foundation continuing the pledge to the LA Fire Department, and all these teams continuing to throw on fundraisers and auctions to raise these funds and to help give back to the community. And I think that's been a huge part of what makes this league so awesome to me, is how connected they just are to these fan bases that come out and support them and keep them afloat. I feel like, not that it's quite so disconnected in the NHL, but I think, I feel like everything's bigger and the spotlight's so much bigger. It's harder. You just don't see it as much of the players and the immediate organizations reaching out directly quite to the level that you see these AHL clubs doing in smaller markets, of course. But yeah, this has been wonderful to see, and these efforts are going to continue at least up through the end of the month here.
Yeah, I have been following. I have people in Southern California. Listeners, viewers may not know that I was both a military brat and I am prior military, so I have people like a little bit of everywhere. Not only that, but surfing and just like the sports and stuff that I've played have taken me lots of places. I've met a lot of people from a lot of places, and then the sports that I follow, I have friends everywhere. I've checked in on all of my people in Southern California. They're all fine. They're all so good. Houses have burnt down, unfortunately, and stuff for some of them. But I've been keeping updated with the fires and everything. I've been following Cal Fire for a while. But they've obviously been like a lot more active lately. And there are still 4 fires that they're still working on containing. The big one, Palisades, is getting like larger containment numbers. Now, containment numbers don't really mean much when you still have Santa Ana winds, but they are at least like they have it kind of more manageable. There are new fire starts that they are putting out kind of like all the time as well. And then everybody's working around the clock. Firefighters have come in from the surrounding states, especially like the hot shots. So like the forest firefighters, like the wildland firefighters and everything from like Oregon and Washington and everybody have come down. And they're working on it, and it's going to take a long time, unfortunately, for Southern California to rebuild. And they're going to fight insurance, and they're going to have to fight off predatory like land developers who are going to try to buy their land from them for way less than it's worth. Just so that, and it'll be appealing so that they don't have to fight the insurance companies. Anything that we can give to the folks in Southern California, because what a lot of people don't like, when people hear LA or Malibu or LA County, they think rich and the lifestyles of the rich and the famous. But the majority of the people who live in Los Angeles County, who live in the surrounding areas, who live up and down the Pacific Coast Highway, which has been absolutely gutted by these fires, are people just like you and me, working 9-to-5 jobs for probably not enough money to support themselves, their families, and their lifestyles. And they're not glamorous lifestyles. They, have to make mortgage payments and car payments and decide whether or not they want to go to the hospital for this, or if they want to maybe just like sleep it off and hope it doesn't become a worse problem. So the people affected by this are just people like you and me and everybody else. Anything that you can give, any time, any awareness, any monetary value, even if that is tied into buying a t-shirt from an AHL team that you kind of like. Like, I'm like this close to buying a Gulls one just because. But anything you can do, especially like with the teams, they have pledged like all of it. It's not just like a portion of our proceeds. They are, every single cent, every single dollar is going toward rebuilding lives in Southern California. And even if it's just buying a t-shirt, if that's all you can swing right now, if it's just sharing GoFundMe's, if it's just sharing the links to the t-shirts, whatever you can do is going to help regular old Angelinos, and the Angelinos need our help right now.
Yeah. We in the show notes we will include a link to the article on the AHL.com that dictates all the efforts that each team's going through, and through there you can kind of access the San Diego Gulls Foundation that's going to be matching all donations up to $5,000. And it's going to take time, but I think, these teams are definitely putting into the overall effort to just start building back. It's a terrible tragedy. Some people have lost absolutely everything, and when that happens, all we have left is each other. So if you have the means to give what you can, there's people out there who are in desperate need, and they would all, be, I know, eternally grateful for your support. And
But people, like, what we forget in all of this is people didn't just lose their homes, they lost their jobs too. They physically don't have work
they
anymore.
lost their houses, their possessions, their jobs. I mean,
Everything. Every
I've
single thing.
seen pets, unfortunately, lost in the chaos, because you get the evacuation order. There's no, oh, let me go home and get Max. Like, and it's terrible, but that's the reality of the situation. You don't have that opportunity to go and
Or
take
yeah,
10 minutes.
sometimes you get the evacuation order while you're at work. You physically
Right,
cannot re-enter the evacuation zone.
right.
So, yeah, people have lost so many things, loved ones. People have lost lives. They've lost, and no, it's just a house. Sure. It just closed. Sure. It's memories. They've lost
Mhm.
their memories. They've lost everything. And it's, listen, the California teams, I have so many snarky things to say about San Diego and San Jose all the time. But, 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 this is what I think of when I think of California. Build back better together is everything I know of California and why people love to hate on the fact that it's one of my favorite places in the world. This is what I know. This is the Los Angeles that I know. This is the Southern California that I know. Build back better together.
Absolutely. And I think it would be a good segue to kind of, as we take a look ahead to this week, to kind of focus in on some of these games where, if anyone's able to attend, these portions of the ticket proceeds are going to be going into some of the relief efforts. And we can kind of segue into the week ahead look. And I mean, Ontario's got 3 home games coming up, and we got, Saturday, they got Henderson coming into town, and then Sunday and Tuesday they got a nice little series with Calgary. So on top of, going in to help out the community, you might also be watching a battle for first place. Maybe not. Calgary's pretty far ahead, but Ontario has been having a really strong season over there in the Pacific Division. I've really, really liked what the teams brought to the table. I mean, Eric Portillo has been a monster in that. Samuel Fujimo just continues to do Samuel Fujimo stuff. All-star again this year. And I wonder if this kind of sorts of galvanize this group. Ontario, I think, is the team that's closest to the affected areas of the fires and everything. So, those players that they live in these communities, they go out and engage with the fans on a night to night basis. They're going to be filled with stories of, oh, I know Joe Schmo, and he's unfortunately just, his house has been completely destroyed and this stuff. And I wonder if, for the fans, if they have the chance to go out and be a part of these games, if that doesn't give them, more, I almost said more fire. That would be terrible.
No, they don't need more fire. They need more
Well, you know what I mean.
fire.
It's in the spirit of sense to juice the team on. Yeah, that's
Right.
what I was trying to get at.
Passion's going to be on display.
Yeah, exactly.
My thing is, I don't want to hear anything about Ontario's seats being however full or however empty. If they're empty, wouldn't you be able to
People have
understand that?
bigger things to worry about right now.
If they are full, can't you understand that sports bring people together? And right now, everything doesn't have to be doom and gloom and grief for their city. It can also be coming together and the distraction and the community. that it brings.
Absolutely. And I would love to see Ontario kind of go on a run here. And if they can bring that kind of distraction away from some of these affected areas, then then hopefully it'll lessen the heartache that unfortunately a lot of their fans are very much going through. We got I'll talk about Bakersfield. They will be donating proceeds from in-game auction January 24th. That's a couple of weeks from now. That's your
birthday.
Oh, well, next week. Well, 2 weeks. Happy birthday, Dee.
Thanks. I will be in Montreal.
You'll be where?
In Montreal.
Oh, well, that's about as far away from Southern California as you can.
Sure is.
I know they'll be in your heart.
Not doing any tourism to Southern California right now. I think Airbnbs and hotels and rental cars. I think the Angelinos need those more than me. So I will not be doing that. No, as much as I really wanted to go on a surf trip up and down the PCH, not yet. Not right now. Not anytime soon. That plan can wait because I didn't book any tickets yet. So.
It's a bold strategy.
Well, you know what? It paid off, Cotton.
All right. We see a lot of the Canadian teams are off on the road, or Californian teams are off on the road this weekend. You got San Jose, who's in Abbotsford. That's going to be another big one. I've noticed a familiar name kind of climbing up those point totals in the league. Andrew Podorowski is now only 1 point behind Luca Del Belbaluz, who's currently up in Columbus. So he's going to have, I know, now that I've had like a couple games,
I know, you got it.
It just rolls off the tongue. So well, at first I was like, oh no, it's like 4 names. I'm going to stumble somewhere.
Yeah, not a chance this week. Professional.
Practice and perfect and all of that, but yeah, Potsy is right back up there where we're used to seeing him at the top of the point list. So we'll see. He's got a big weekend coming up in British Columbia against the Canucks. We'll see if he can some more of them points. And then there's the San Jose gets a big homestand to finish off the month of January.
Yeah, that'll be good for them.
Yeah.
They've really established themselves right now. I think like San Jose is proof positive that bullying works.
Yes.
And specifically me bullying them works. So, yeah, just go San Jose, go. I always believed you could do it. I've been saying for 2 seasons that you are doing amazing, sweetie. But like actually do the thing. So
I got a couple more matchups that are a little tied to the heart this week. We got Friday and Saturday night. Grand Rapids is going to be hosting the Cleveland Monsters. It's important for 2 reasons. One, I'm going to be there on Friday night to personally cover the games and kind of see how.
Oh, in case you haven't figured out that we record on Thursdays.
just in case you didn't know. But I think this would be a good opportunity for Grand Rapids to kind of get the wheels rolling a little bit here, just offensively in this month of January. You know, they've had 1 goal scored against Cleveland, 1 goal scored against Milwaukee, 2 against Manitoba. They got shut out by Manitoba. That's last place Manitoba. They got swept at home by last place Manitoba. And then 5 spot against Chicago, but 2 of those are empty netters, so I'm not counting that. It's 3 goals. I get that you're missing Amadeus Lombardi, and Carter Mazur's been out. Carter Mazur might actually be back this weekend, and I'd be so hyped up if I can line that up right. But you know, this team's kind of in the dog days right now, and they gotta continue to grind through it. And Cleveland, you know, they love to open up that ice, and you're going to be seeing chances up and down, left and right. Got to match them defensively when they're in your end, and you got to transition the other way and hit them where it hurts on the other side.
Yeah, and they don't even have like half their roster right now, so capitalize on that.
Exactly. Right. Luca Del Belbaluz isn't there.
True. Hit me with another one.
I just when you're in a roll, you just got to keep them coming. So, yeah, the opportunity is there for some points. I don't know if actually the no, okay. So Texas by points percentage is actually higher than Grand Rapids, but what we were concerned about is points accrued. So the Griffins are still at the top for now. But if these offensive woes kind of start, they still kind of let points get away from them. It could be a little dangerous. And, Cleveland's always been battling up there. Even with all these call-ups, they're still right there at the top of the North. So it's not going to be easy no matter who's going to be suiting up for the Monsters.
True. Cleveland is always a tough team. That's the thing about Cleveland. Even when they're struggling, they're still hard to beat. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, I want that. I want that for my team. Like, even when we're struggling, even in full seasons where we're struggling, it's never a given that you're going to beat Cleveland. I want that.
I don't care that anything good happened to you. It should have happened.
It should have happened to me.
Yeah, Trent Vogelhuber, he does an excellent job coaching up those Monsters. I think he's got a future in the big league someday. It's just a matter of when anyone gives him that opportunity.
And that's what people forget about. The AHL is not just developing your players, it's developing your coaches too.
That's right. I got one more matchup this weekend. Dee's probably not going to like it. Saturday night, the Washington Commanders are going into Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions. And guess what? The march to the Super Bowl starts on Saturday.
No, I'm so here for that. I'm actually like, yes, Lions, let's go.
Thank you.
Ooh, I'm super nervous because the Texans and the Chiefs.
Are you really that nervous for that one?
Anybody but the Chiefs.
Yes, okay. I think anyone outside of Kansas City is saying that now. Like okay, you had yours. Like it's someone else's turn now.
Yeah, I'm not a Texans fan. Shockingly, I'm a 49ers fan.
That much I remember. Yeah. we kind of had our thing in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I'm a 49ers fan. But I will let Texans fans be as insufferable as they want. If it means that CJ can just do the dang thing.
Do the thing.
You can just do the dang thing.
Please do the thing.
You people can be as insufferable as you want. You can tell me how he is the next coming of Tom Brady. All you want. I will listen to it. I will actually let you have the time of day. Please. Anybody but the Chiefs. I'm on it. I'm with you. Go Lions on that one. I'm not here for the Commanders. Not here for it. I am still a Josh Allen fan though, so that's yeah. But I think that would be, it'd be fun. I think watching an actual like battle for the Super Bowl would be fun.
ABC.
Yeah, and anybody but the Chiefs.
That's right. I'm so glad you're on my side. That makes me feel.
Yeah.
At first, I thought we were gonna have a battle here, but now it's like,
no. I'm here for the Lions, and I have told you so many times I will concede that the Lions are fun to watch unless they're playing my team.
That's fair.
I have conceded that multiple times. They are fun to watch unless they're playing my team. And y'all got the Viking kid that I like. Is he still hurt?
Anzalone? No, he came back. He came back coincidentally against the Vikings. So
no, Hutchinson.
Oh yeah, no, Hutchinson. He's they say if they make the Super Bowl, he could come back, but that would be wild to like you have like 5 months off and then you come back to the biggest game of your life. Like I don't think if we're realistic. Like my head says no, my heart says Hutch is playing it for sure.
I like Hutchinson.
I love Hutch. Yeah. That was terrible what happened to him, but
I felt that one.
That's the nature of the game.
This has become a football podcast.
It's the playoff. I'm sorry. Lions fever has just got the whole city jazzed up right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad about it. Last year it was only a problem because they were up against my team. So this year they're not. I wouldn't be mad about it.
So like we'll tie it into AHL hockey because like I'm going to Grand Rapids on Friday night to cover this game. And they're going to be chanting Jared Goff at the Griffins game. I know they're going. I've been there when they've done it before. So now that the playoffs are coming up, those Jared Goff chants are going to be wild. Did you see the kid coming out of surgery who was all hopped up on anesthesia, coming out of surgery chanting Jared Goff?
No, I didn't. You
This
just
little
send it to
pal.
me. Yeah, that would be.
I'll send you the TikTok afterwards. Anyways, and if you're listening, listen to that kid. Find that kid on TikTok before it's banned on Sunday, and it's.
Oh, speaking of that, Biden has said that he is not going to enforce that law, and Trump also says that that is not a priority for him.
Oh, so
I don't think it's being banned. Like,
Oh.
we'll just take that law back. We'll just oopsies, strike that one from the record.
Nice. So we can open up a Taps TikTok now. That'll be great. Taps TikTok?
We'll just have to use the Canadian VPN because you can't do that. So
you can't do that. Oh, well, that is. We're going to conclude another week of Taps here with a spicy little TikTok ending. I'm Andrew.
TikToks. We're not making spicy TikToks. I'm
not
Kate,
yet.
And I'm here to moderate our TikTok content, and they will not be spicy.
God, way to ruin my week. Well, we'll catch you guys same time, same place next week.
Possibly, because I will be in Montreal.
I'll be here.